Hello, my friend. It is good to see you again. Welcome to the English background. Take a slow breath. Find a quiet place, a comfortable chair, a warm cup, a window with light. We are here together now. There is no hurry. Today we have a new story for you. We will tell it slowly, in simple English, word by word. Let the story come to you. On the screen, people called her the most beautiful woman in the world. At home, she did something stranger. She was building a way to send messages that no one could hear. Her name was Hedy Lamarr. In the 1940s, she was a big film star in Hollywood. Her face was on posters all around the world. Newspapers wrote about her dresses, her smile, her hair. Most people thought they already knew her, but they did not. After a long day at the studio, Hedy went home. She did not go to big parties. In the quiet of her own room, she sat at a small table. She read books about machines, and she drew her own ideas. She was an inventor. And in 1942, during the Second World War, the United States gave her a special paper. The paper said this new idea was hers. The idea was about the radio. It was a quiet way to talk during a war, so no enemy could listen to it. For 50 years, almost no one used her idea. Then, slowly, the world changed. Today, your phone uses something very close to it. So how did a film star invent something like this? To find the answer, we need to go back to a girl in a big city in Europe. The city was Vienna, in Austria. The year was 1914. It was the same year the First World War began. In a quiet street, a baby girl was born into a Jewish family. Her parents called her Hedwig. Hedwig was a very smart girl. She loved music, she loved books, but she also loved something different, something most girls of her time did not love. She loved machines and the way they worked. When she was about 5 years old, Hedwig opened her music box to see how it worked. She wanted to see every small piece. Inside, there were small metal parts, all moving together in a tiny dance. Little Hedwig sat on the floor and looked at them for a long time. From that day, she wanted to know how everything worked, inside every machine. Vienna was a beautiful city, full of music, art, and big white buildings. People sat in cafes and talked about books. But Europe was slowly changing. New, dangerous men were coming to power. For a young Jewish girl like Hedwig, the future was not safe. Hedwig left school early because she wanted to be an actress. By 17, she was already on the stage. By 18, she was making films in Berlin. Then, at 19, she got married. And that one decision was about to change everything. In 1933, at the age of 19, Hedwig got married. The man's name was Friedrich Mandl. He was very rich and very powerful. He sold weapons all over Europe. The young Hedwig thought she was getting a happy new life, but the marriage was a trap. Mandl did not like his wife to go out alone. He wanted to know where she was, every hour of every day. He even followed her when she went shopping. Hedwig started to feel like a beautiful prisoner in her own home. But there was something strange in this hard life. Almost every week, Mandl had big dinners. Important men from the army came to his table. They talked about guns, ships, secret bombs, and how to send messages by radio. Mandl thought his young wife did not understand, but Hedy was listening, very carefully. After 4 years, Hedwig had enough. People still tell one famous story about her escape. They say she wore her best dress for a big dinner. They say she smiled at her husband, then quietly walked out of the house. The full story may not be true, but this part is real. In 1937, at the age of 22, Hedy left Europe and crossed the sea to America. In Hollywood, she got a new name. Hedwig Kiesler became Hedy Lamarr, a film star at last. But she still remembered every word from those dinners in Vienna. In Hollywood, Hedy Lamarr was now a real star. People said she was the most beautiful woman in the world. She made big films like Algiers and Boomtown. Her face was on magazines and on the front of cinemas. But after the noise of the day, she always wanted to be alone. Most film stars went to big parties at night. Hedy went to her own room. She had a small table in the corner with a clean light, papers, pencils, and her drawing tools. She even had books about machines, planes, and radios. She called this her inventor's corner. Then came the year 1940. Europe was at war. Big ships were sinking in the cold sea. Children sent their old toys to soldiers. Hedy wanted to help, but she was an actress, not a soldier. At a Hollywood dinner one evening, Hedy met a man called George Antheil. George was not a soldier either. He was a man who wrote music for films. But George knew about machines too, many of them. The two of them sat down at a piano, and they started to talk about the war. They talked for hours, and Hedy remembered the dinners in Vienna. She remembered the ships and the secret radios. Then she had an idea, a radio that could move very, very fast. So fast that no enemy could listen. George went very quiet. Then he looked at her, and he understood. For many months, Hedy and George worked together late into the night. They drew plans and built small models from wire and wood. They drank coffee, they fought, and they laughed. They were sure their idea could help the soldiers in the sea. Maybe it could even end the war faster. In 1941, they sent their idea to the United States government. They wrote everything down with careful pictures on 20 pages. On August 11th, 1942, the answer came back. The government gave them a special paper. The paper had a long number, 2,292,387. Hedy and George were so happy. They were sure their idea could save ships and end the war faster. They sent all their papers to the United States Navy. Then they waited. They waited for one letter for many long weeks. The Navy did not use the idea. Some men there said it was too strange. Some said a film star and a music man could not understand a war. To this day, no one is fully sure why. The papers were put in a quiet box far from the sea. For 50 long years, almost no one knew this paper existed. Hedy returned to her films, then to a quiet life at home. The world did not say thank you, but somewhere, in an old box, the idea was still waiting for the right time and the right person to find it. Hedy made many films after the war, but the world only saw her face. They did not see the inventor inside her. Slowly, the films stopped coming. Slowly, the world started to forget Hedy Lamarr. At home, she still drew her ideas. She had ideas for a new red light, a new cup, even a new kind of bus stop, but no one was interested. She lived in a quiet house in Florida. She was alone with her papers and her thoughts. Strange things were happening in the world. New machines, new phones, new radios appeared. Some of them used an idea very close to hers. Engineers say it is hard to draw a straight line from her old paper to your phone. But the idea, that fast jump from one place to another, was hers, back in 1942. For most of those years, Hedy did not get any thank you for her work. No big prize, no name on a list, no big newspaper page. People talked about her face, but not about her mind. Hedy got older. Her hair turned gray. She did not leave her house, but she still thought about that old paper almost every day. And then, very slowly, the world started to remember. In 1997, Hedy was 82 years old. One day, the phone rang in her quiet house. A man told her some news. A group of computer engineers wanted to give her a special prize. Her work, they said, helped to build the modern world. Hedy was quiet for a long moment. She was too tired and too ill to go to the prize, but she sent a short message of thanks. At home, she smiled quietly. After 50 years of silence, the world finally said thank you. 3 years later, in 2000, Hedy Lamarr died at home in Florida. She was 85 years old. Then, in 2014, something beautiful happened. Her name was put on a special list, a list of the great inventors of America. The film star, the inventor, the young girl from Vienna who heard the secrets of war and turned them into something good. Today, every time you send a message from your phone, think of her for one quiet second. Hedy Lamarr was here, and her idea is still here too. And that is our story for today. You listen to it in English. That is not a small thing. Every story you hear takes you one quiet step closer to the best version of yourself, the one who understands English well, the one who knows something new about the world. Take one slow breath. Stay with the story for a moment before you go back to your day. Now I have a small question for you. Whose story would you like to hear next? A scientist? An artist? A writer? A singer? Write the name in the comments. I will read every one. If this story helped your English today, leave a small like. It is a quiet way to say thank you to the channel. Thank you for being here today. See you in the next story, here at the English Background.